Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode review. This time, we will be reviewing episode 39 of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's, the finale of the current arc or current season. I don't really know whether to refer to these as seasons or arcs, because if we refer to them as seasons, then we're about to enter season 4, but that just seems kind of crazy to me. So I don't know if these are like arcs within a season or if they are individual seasons, but either way, this is the end of the Goha 6th elementary arc and the end of the rematch duel between Yuga and Asana. And what did I think about the episode? What did I think about the arc? Well, this episode was a really good one. I really have enjoyed this duel, particularly between Yuga and Asana. They probably saved their best for last, which was similar to Nail versus Yuga in the previous arc. There's just more dueling action and more backstory that we get, it seems, in these final duels of the arc, rather than the ones that take place in the middle. The arc itself, I felt, was okay. Probably my least favorite arc personally. I thought it ended on a really good note, and I thought there were a lot of good moments from the arc, including Gakuto getting a big win against Galliant, Asana becoming the first girl character ever to legitimately beat our main protagonist. So there were a lot of memorable moments from this arc, but I felt that from an overall quality, it did kind of taper off a little bit at the end, although this duel definitely did pick things back up, which was really enjoyable to watch. So those are my thoughts on the arc, and obviously I'll get more into that this Wednesday night when we do our 7's Up podcast. Special guest will be Entame, who is part of the subbing team that does the subs for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7. She was on for the finale of Nail versus Yuga as well, which was the finale of the last arc. So definitely tune in this Wednesday night around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we will go way more in depth, not only on this episode, but on this arc. But now that the promo for that is out of the way, let's begin picking apart this episode. The duel itself was really interesting because I really thought that maximums were going to be a steady theme, very similarly to how they were pretty much all around during the Yuga versus Nail duel, but that was not the case. We learned at the end of the last episode, and even at the beginning of this one, that the maximums were fading away, and whichever maximum faded away first, that user would take a direct attack, which would deal them 3,900 points of damage. Now, Yuga already had 3,700 life points, so basically if his maximum disintegrated first, he would automatically lose the duel. So we pretty much all knew that his Magnum Overload could not be the one to disintegrate first, and I think we all felt the most likely of options was for them to both disappear at the same exact time, and that is exactly what happened. Both of these maximums do disappear at the same time. Now, what's really interesting is they leave. They don't go to the graveyard. They literally just disappear. They don't get banished. They just, although they might as well have gotten banished, but they just disappear. So definitely a unique aspect there where I don't know if there's ever been a case in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime duel where a card gets destroyed or gets defeated and doesn't go to the grave or the banish zone, literally just disappears as if they were never used in the duel. So definitely a more unique aspect there. And once the maximums were gone, the maximums were gone. It became a normal duel between Asana's monsters and Yuga's monsters, and there was a lot of back and forth in the duel, and I'll get to the plot, which obviously interests me more in a little bit. But the duel was very fascinating because on the last turn, Yuga summons Mirror Deity, which was a really, really awesome ace monster that is able to get the attack of a similar type monster, or 3 similar type monsters, their levels times 100. He's able to get that attack. Now, this monster is a machine monster, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Asana kind of misplays a little bit. She activates her trap, which allows her to declare a monster type that cannot attack for the rest of the turn. So she naturally declares machine type, but Yuga has a spell card that allows him to change Mirror Deity's monster type to Spellcaster, which was probably what he was going to do anyway, because he had 3 Spellcasters in his grave, including Seven's Road Magician. I'm not sure if he could have done it with a machine type. I don't know if he had 3 machines in his grave. In fact, I'm pretty sure he didn't, because that maximum disappeared. So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if Asana waited to use that trap, if she waited until Yuga made his move first and changed Mirror Deity's typing to Spellcaster, and then used that trap to prevent Spellcaster monsters from attacking, wouldn't that have gotten her another turn, and in turn, probably the win? So that's kind of an interesting point of debate there. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe there was a situation there where it just wouldn't have mattered. But the way that I interpreted it, Asana actually did have a path to probably win this duel and just got a little excited and activated that trap maybe a little earlier. I just think if she waited until Yuga changed the typing to Spellcaster and then she activated her trap and declared Spellcaster instead of Machine, I think that probably would have given her the win. I mean, it definitely would have let her most likely survive the turn. So that was very interesting to me. That it just shows how equal these two characters were as duelists, and almost how neither of them even wanted to win. Like, I felt like they really just wanted an amazing duel, and so I really liked that aspect of the duel, and that was something that really stood out to me. But yeah, Yuga's new ace, probably my favorite ace, not Maximum, that he has used thus far. A beautiful ace, great chant. We saw Asana's Construction Dragon, very bright colors. You know, people have very mixed opinions on that, but it was cool to see that dragon back. And of course, Yuga does end up getting the win. He gets his Mirror Deity's attack to 6,900, which is 4,000 points above Asana's dragon. He attacks Asana's dragon and ends up winning the duel. The plot going on in this episode was fantastic. We got story that we needed to get. We've been wondering what really are the ties here between Mutsuba and Goha. We know there's ties between them, but why is it personal? Why is it deeper? And why is Asana working for Goha, trying to destroy Rush Duels? And we learned it in this episode. It's that their beloved machines are finally running out of usage. They cannot use their machines anymore. We see R6 breaking. It's at its limits. We saw Galleon's machine break a few episodes ago, and the Machine Cavalry Duel Club, without their amazing and well-known and precious machinery, they can't do anything. The Machine Club is going to disband, and so Goha, who stopped producing older parts that would allow repairs to be done, basically says to Asana, yeah, if you defeat Rush Duels, we'll start making these parts again. Very scummy, very corporate move by Goha, which again immediately directs the viewers' hate and attention and negative energy towards Goha, which is obviously what the writing team wanted to have happen. And I think Goha are definitely being billed as the main threat of the next arc, but I'll get into that at the end of this video. And so Asana doesn't have a choice. Her hand is literally forced here. She can either watch her grandfather's creation and her family's legacy just fade into oblivion, or she can go after Rush Duels, destroy Rush Duels, so that Goha can make the parts to save the Machine Club. And what I loved in one of these shots was Asana. There was a great shot of her, I'll have it on screen right now, where she says, I'm going to make you feel my family's anger and regret. Something along those lines. And Asana is such a complex character because she really, and you can just see from the very beginning of when she met Yuga, she's really balancing this ideal of, I like Yuga, he's a good guy, he's a really selfless person, and I love Rush Duels. But I hate modification to anything, because that's what I was taught was the correct way. And I hate Rush Duels because if Rush Duels exist, that means my family's legacy cannot exist. What Goha Drone did is he literally pitted the Mutsuba name versus Rush Duels. You can't have both. You're either going to have Rush Duels exist and your family's legacy will be destroyed and forgotten, or your family's legacy will not be forgotten, your traditions can carry on, but Rush Duels cannot exist. Neither of them can coexist. And because Asana genuinely liked Rush Duels and thought they were fun, that was the struggle, the inner battle that she had to face this entire arc, and especially in this duel. And so finally getting some clear backstory on that was so needed. And there was a great point at the end where Yuga's about to win, where Roman and Gakuto even start to waver a bit, where they're like, I don't even know if we should win this duel. I feel like we shouldn't win this duel. Like, what Asana is trying to do is not evil. It's not wrong. it's not messed up at all. And I think that's probably my favorite part about this. You can really understand why Asana and her friends and her crew are doing what they're doing. It's not for evil purposes. I think anyone in her shoes would do exactly what she was doing in this entire arc, right? If it was about defending your family's honor and defending your family's legacy and getting credit for what your family should have gotten credit for in terms of building Goha, I think you would take that opportunity. I mean, I really would. I think a lot of us put family first, as we should in most cases. And I really do have this understanding of Asana that I think we all kind of had to a degree. But now that we know the more specific details, it's just much more easier to relate to her, in my opinion, and root for her. And even at the end of this episode, I was kind of rooting for Asana a little bit. I kind of agreed with Roman and Gakuto, and Rook probably has a moment that we all have been dying for him to have, where he is dead serious, and he's the only one that fully understands when they took on Rush Duels, it was with the thought of becoming the king of games. And that was mainly, or the king of duels, excuse me, and that was mainly him and Yuga's ideal. Yuga got that ideal at the end of the first arc when he dueled Roa, but that was always Rook's motivation. And so Rook understands that even though what Asana and her crew are doing is not wrong, they can't lose this duel. They have to win. And so Rook and Yuga having that mutual understanding with each other, while Roman and Gakuto don't really get it because their motivation is not driven in becoming the king of duels. I thought that was really, really well done. Probably one of my favorite scenes of this episode, honestly. And again, that is the Rook we all kind of missed a little bit. And he doesn't need to be like that every episode, but just every now and then having him go on those inner monologues and those tangents, which he went on, I feel like way more in the first half of the show. That's what we want to see. That was a really cool moment for Rook. And of course, the episode does end on a very happy note because Yuga finally discovers, and again, he's one step ahead of literally every single person in the show. He discovers an old warehouse full of Mutsuba machinery, including a prototype called R0. And R0 was kept in shape by all of these modifications. And Asana is stunned because she was told that modifications are not a good thing. And Yuga says, listen, modifications are basically life's trial and error. And Yuga, he's right on the money. He really is. Life is all about trial and error. You try things one way, they don't work, you try them another way. Or maybe whatever you're doing, maybe it's a job, it's not right for you. You date someone, you break up 8 months later, trial and error. That person wasn't right for you. You move on and you meet someone that is just better equipped for your needs and for your life. And ultimately, that is what life is all about. Modifications do not have to be a negative thing. It's adapting. It's improving yourself and adapting to your environment so that these things can have a lasting impact and don't get worn down because you just didn't make changes. I mean, we see shops like Barnes and Nobles, they weren't really able to make necessary changes, and then you have a company like Amazon come in and it just wipes them out. I mean, Amazon wiped out a lot of companies, but that's how the world works. And so Yuga was able to demonstrate that theory by showing Asana that her own grandfather, her own ancestors did that, where they modified stuff as well. So I think that was just a really good way to wrap up the arc. And of course, Yuga is able to fix R6. Galliant wants him to fix his machine. And as we all figured, Goha 6th Elementary, which I never really considered them to be villains, especially after the first few episodes of this arc. It just didn't seem like they were in this for evil purposes. I think it was a very fitting and solid way for this arc to end, with obviously them all being allies and friends. And this episode ends with Goha saying, basically, okay, I need to get involved now. And Mimi kind of sighs at that thought. You can see she's kind of getting maybe a little bored of the job. But President Drone says he's going to get involved. I'd believe him. I think President Drone is probably going to be the main threat. And in turn, Mimi is probably going to be the main threat of these next 13 episodes. But we'll have to wait and see. So all in all, this was an arc that I thought started out really well and really interesting. Towards the middle second half, it kind of faded for me a little bit in terms of quality, I thought, but this final duel and these final scenes was a really solid way to conclude the Goha 6th Elementary arc. But guys, let me know all your thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s now that we are 3 arcs or 3 seasons through. I am really excited to hear from all of you down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, Jarrett Buller, and X-Slayer 64, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Anime Kaput, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, XZ's Lover 104. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out tremendously, and I would not be able to do this without all of you. I stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/SuperDeepRot, link in the description. I also make a bunch of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, all related to the anime, or usually related to the anime, so you can check out my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I will talk to you down below, and I hope you have an amazing day.